Spike, talk me through this young Miami interview that happened.
Well,
Because
Carisha.
so it was like a 30-minute interview to relaunch her podcast, Carisha Please, that's on the Revolt Network, formerly owned by Puff Daddy. She was being interviewed by her friend, Saucy Santana. I guess you can call him a hip hop artist. And this was billed as an interview that was going to address her silence during everything that happened with Diddy, because of course she dates him. But once you dive into the interview, if you look at it, she really didn't say anything pertaining to what people had questions about, as far as, you know, what she seen when she was with Diddy or how he treated her when they were together. It was just a lot of fluff. So one thing is, it was billed as, again, this tell-all interview, but it was just two friends talking around, not even talking about the Diddy situation. So that's how it's been perceived on social media.
He definitely brought it up, right? So do you think he let her off the hook with some of the stuff?
Yes. He let her off the hook because that's her friend. And I don't think that they ever went in with the intention of, oh, we're going to address any of this serious stuff. I do think it's above her in the sense of, who is she to talk about it, just because people think that they dated. I'm not even sure. I use the term dating very loosely in the sense of what they had going on, but it was just misdirected as far as this is going to be a tell-all interview. And I think people got excited about, oh, we're about to hear the tea, quote unquote, as the kids use from about Diddy. And that wasn't the case at all. It was more so, I'm talking because I want to continue my podcast and I can talk around these issues well enough, and my friend is not going to press me, so we can put this out as a tell-all, but it really wasn't anything in as such.
I mean, I think maybe from a business perspective, that probably was a good idea.
Because now it gets people clicking on the podcast. It's been away for a while, ever since the Diddy allegations came up. It's been away, but now you come back and Revolt's under new ownership. It's not under Diddy, so this is one of probably their strongest, like, flagship programs. So they want to make sure they get it back in front of people's faces. And like you said, from a business standpoint, great way to roll it out, but a lot of nothing.
Yeah. It did seem like a lot of people, based on some of the comments on YouTube, they were admiring Saucy's interview skills and, you know, just the relationship that they had or have, and how he was able to kind of build her up, so to speak, you know, throughout the whole interview process. It's just, I mean, marketing 101, right? I think is like, I'm gonna get you guys to come in and watch this thing, thinking you're gonna get something juicy on Diddy. I probably shouldn't say that. So some tea on Diddy, and it's none of that. I wonder though, if, given her relationship with Diddy, could there potentially be a spike in viewership, listenership, because they think that she may say things about him in her return to on air? It'll be interesting to see how that goes off. But Saucy's turn from rapper, because he was on the freshman list, so his whole turn from being a rapper to this media personality guy has been interesting. But hey, man, don't mess with Saucy, bro. Saucy whoop your ass.
Oh my God, yeah, he still got a threat out on DJ Academics, as far as them just being in beef. But yes,
It's a very hefty beef.
I agree with you, Ken. There is going to be this increase in her show, as far as people thinking that they're going to get information about Diddy. Like
Mm-hmm.
regardless of who the guest is, regardless of what she's talking about, they're thinking that there'll be this chatter about Diddy that's continuous among her show.
Yeah. Mm.
Is that why
Okay.
you watched it?
Yeah. To be completely honest, I thought that she would give more information about her experience, and she did not. There was no information about her experience.
So I didn't watch it. I saw it on the list of Notion things, and sorry,
Skipped it.
I'm not clicking this. The only thing I took from this entire thing was I didn't know that Carisha and Young Miami were the same person. I thought they were two different people.
That's funny.
So that was interesting. Other than that, I was just like, nah. I clicked it and it was like a minute and a half in. I was like, their life is too short. I can't spend my life watching this. And plus, she talks about Diddy. So, like, for me, it was a matter of, well, my mind is already made up about Diddy. I don't really need another woman and another woman and another woman to come out and say, oh, he's an abusive piece of shit, because it doesn't change my already made up opinion. The other thing was, because I saw people complaining on Twitter, which was how I found out that Carisha and Miami were the same person. I saw people on Twitter complaining, and I was like, well, I mean, does she have any obligation to y'all to really talk about Diddy? Like, can anyone really say, well, you know, it's not fair that she kind of misrepresented what she was going to do? I mean, if she was abused, she doesn't have any obligation to go on a TV show and tell y'all, hey, this guy abused me. It's her business. So I don't know. I guess I thought the entire thing was really fucking weird.
Question. You said that your mind is already made up. I think that's the majority of the people with Diddy.
Right.
What does that mean for him moving forward? Like, people's mind is already made up. They think that he's this monster, that he did this thing. What does that mean for his, like, him period moving forward?
I mean, I think at this point he's kind of going to get the R. Kelly treatment, which is I don't want to say we, because I never liked any of Diddy stuff really, but I mean, I think it's going to be one of those things where it's like, well, they'll listen to him in private, but in public they'll act like he's a pariah. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter that my mind is made up. Like, who cares? My whole point is, I think it's weird to attack a woman because she didn't want to go on a syndicated show or a YouTube show, whatever the fuck this is, and talk about abuse. And for people to be like, oh, well, this is fucked up that you didn't do that. Well, I mean, why? If you already know he's an abuser, why do you need another person to say it?
And maybe that wasn't her experience.
For what? Why? Why do y'all want this woman's experience? Why do you don't really care? That's the thing. Like, you don't really care. Your fucking brother beats up his girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Your uncle beats up your aunt. You don't care. So it's like, why are you pretending to care when it's some fucking celebrity? And then you quote unquote care so much that you're angry at a woman for not wanting to talk about abuse that she may or may not have gone through. I just think the entire situation is really bizarre.
Once again, it just comes down to people's entitlement on one side, and then on the other side, there's like the sensationalization of domestic violence. And I think putting it in front of a camera is some people's discomfort with it. Those who are like, why even discuss this if you're not gonna do it? Like, why even have like the one side I see just being completely stupid, like, yo, you gotta tell us everything. I don't agree with that, but I think there is something to be said about, well, if this is a very hard issue for you to speak about, why do we need to have the whole like Oprah low lights, like, here's my truth? And it's like you're kind of teasing people with something. You see in the preview, like the preview had like a couple million reviews on X. Everyone's like, wait, Saucy's talking to her about the whole Diddy thing. Like, so we're thinking about allegations, we're thinking about tell-all. And I think things like the Meg Thee Stallion, the R. Kelly interview with Gail, those type of things have kind of spoiled people. The whole Jussie Smollett's thing, like those things have spoiled people to expect those interviews being like full explosive. But I just think, giving her some grace here because she's young. She's just as young as I am. And to be a woman in that position, to be someone who's been abused or around an abuser, someone who at least is manipulating the truth in front of you or manipulating you for whatever they want, it has to do something to you that you are uncomfortable with. The only side I am on is like, okay, if that's the truth, like why even, go sit in front of lights and cameras and, give people the illusion that this is coming. I think you should just be like, hey y'all, that's not happening. But then again, bottom line. So it's like money's your thing here as like a company like Revolt. There could be a lack of agency she had in doing this. Maybe she's contractually obligated, and maybe she has to get a certain return on the margin so she can get out of her contract. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm just kind of with Mike where the one word for all of this is weird. This is just a very weird scenario.
Yeah, kind of piggyback a little bit off that. I'm just not. I guess I'm more for blaming the audience for being hyped up about hearing about her getting beat up than I am for blaming her for being like, well, I know I can make a bunch of money off you motherfuckers that want to hear me talk about me being beat up. So I'm gonna manipulate the fuck out of y'all. So y'all will tune into this interview, give me some money, and then I'm gonna bounce. I mean, it's all fucked up. It's all gross, but at the same time, it's like, well, the audience kind of put her in that position to be able to do that. So get your bag and walk away unscathed emotionally if that's what it takes. Because I wasn't going to tune in anyway. I don't need to hear any more about him beating people up. I just don't.
Yeah. It's like the Zeusification of, real life events,
right?
Where like, Zeus Network and all the stuff that they do where they put real people in a content house and they're just beating each other up. And for a year, I blocked so many accounts of Blueface and Krayshawn, and I could not get away from it. I could not get away from it. And the algorithms are pushing these very lowbrow, destructive, and regressive behaviors onto us, and especially our kids, because they're out here like mimicking these things in school, and it's not good for anybody. It's very dark energy. But when it comes to Diddy and it comes to her, the whole situation is just obviously traumatic. But I think on one side, there's one minority in this that I kind of agree with, where it's like, well, you were on Twitter saying there was a tweet where she was responding to some girl saying that like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Don't talk to me like that because I could have my man that have you on all fours committing a sexual act on me, basically. Yeah.
Oh.
So it's like, wait, so how culpable in this are you? And then you're on camera, like, like, bro, like the actual tweet is like, I'll have Diddy make you get on all fours and you'll give me fellatio. So it's like
she was arguing with the woman who both of them were dealing with Diddy at the same time.
Yep.
And the lady was like, they were going back and forth, as Q said, and she was like, watch how you talk to me because we know that if push comes to shove, Diddy will have you on all fours. Perform a fellatio on me if this is what I wanted.
This was so that makes me really look at y'all sideways about why y'all were tuning in. Yeah. So this woman seems complicit with abuse, and y'all are like, well, shit, she's gonna give a tell-all. What is she going to tell y'all that you want to hear?
And also, caveat here is like, that there are times where of the abused can also be abusers as well. In scenarios like this where we're talking about weird cases and sex trafficking and madams and mistresses, where a lot of times you get so caught up in that world of the mishmash that like you forget that, wait, I'm being manipulated to do something as well. And you know what? I have a little bit of power here too. Like a lot of times in these scenarios, like the abuser in these sex trafficking positions will give the top position to certain girls to give them a little bit of agency to bring in other girls into their cabal. So Young Miami got herself caught up in a world that I think is way bigger than her, and it's bigger than Diddy. And I think that's why Diddy ain't said shit, because Diddy ain't saying no names. You know, like there's a very prominent case where we go back to the whole Epstein stuff, and you know they're dropping that name and stuff with the Drake beef and stuff, and everyone thinks that this stuff is just not connected in any way. The industry is way too small for all these names to be dropping and all these, you know, different behaviors to be aligned with these top players and billionaires, but no one thinks that nothing's happening. So I think that my Young Miami, I'm gonna give her some grace here, but I'm also give her some accountability in the fact that, like, you can't be putting tweets out like that and then expect for people to not be rabid. But you niggas are also weird too, because why do y'all want to see these regressive behaviors of black people constantly be plastered to the world? This is just not becoming of anybody.
Yeah, people that are victimizing folks a lot of times are victims themselves. That's something that's been proven over and over and over again. I didn't know anything about any of this shit, and it honestly, it doesn't really interest me because it's just all depressing and sad and gross.
Yeah,
you know. But you know, hopefully she gets some kind of healing at some point. If it comes in the form of a new Birkin bag because a bunch of fucking desperate motherfuckers clicked on a link, straight. I hope that maybe at some point she may realize that she has been complicit in this abuse, if what y'all are saying is true, and hopefully she does better. But that whole thing, that even though again I'm a hypocrite, I only saw a minute and a half, it just felt icky. I'd rather watch a horror movie showing a baby getting fucking split from the bottom up. I'd rather watch a horror movie than watch that, because it just seemed gross.